Welcome to today's Beyond the Badge. I'm Brittany Santiago, your host. We are right in the thick of Women's History Month, and we want to take this time to talk about some of the contributions that women are making to Team CPD, not just now, but over the years. One of those women would happen to be Miss Cindy Ware, and she's joining us here today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Miss Cindy, you were in our budget office before you retired and came back and started up our Heritage Center. Give us a little bit of an overview about the why you like behind you coming back and starting up, our Heritage Center and, to be able to collect all these artifacts that you have here. Tell us the why behind it for you.
Well, because Chief Mathis approached me back in 2023 and said that the roads kept pointing to me when he was looking for photos. And I didn't have those photos, but everybody seemed to think I did. But I guess I did have the reputation of the one that would actually find them. And up and got the ball rolling to make a museum. And I got to talking to some retirees, former police officers who I knew had been interested in the museum. And two primary names that come up are John Hornsby and John Day, who is now deceased. They both had a passion for a police museum, and I knew they had collected artifacts over the years. So I approached John Hornsby and asked him about it, and he told me that, yeah, there were 8 footlockers full of artifacts that had been collected from officers, officers' families, and citizens of the city throughout the years, and they had saved them in hopes that when we came to our building back in 1996, they would make space for a museum. Unfortunately, the space was never made available, and the museum never came to fruition. Both of those gentlemen retired, and it was presumed by the both of them that the footlockers went missing. Through conversations and checking around, we actually found all 8 of the footlockers. And it was the gold mine and really the seed for what started the museum, because within those footlockers we had old uniforms dating back to the 1920s, and we had old badges from the same era, from the turn of the early century, and pictures galore. Sadly, a lot of them weren't identified, and that constitutes a lot of what I'm doing on a daily basis, is just trying to figure out who am I looking at. But the why is, the more I've gone into it, I've never been a history buff, but the more I went into this, I saw how important it was that these people be remembered for the sacrifices that they gave. Not just those that were killed in the line of duty, but just those that served. And I want the officers of today to understand that they're going to be remembered as well.
That's amazing. So I know the Heritage Center, it sits on the 4th floor, right across from the assistant chief's office, and I walk by it like multiple times a week. You have something new, I feel like, coming in there every time you're there. What are some of the things in there right now that people find the most interesting?
I think especially people who are not in active law enforcement, the first thing they are attracted to is the large panels that we have that used to be in our training division of confiscated weapons. And these are mostly homemade weapons and things that officers would encounter on the street on a routine basis. And they're pretty amazed at the ingenuity of some of these criminals. That's been around a long time. It was built by officers in-house. But some of the other things, we've got a 1945 uniform, which is one of my favorite pieces. It's a motor uniform. In fact, that's why I brought this picture today. And this is exactly what the uniform looks like, but you can see it in full living color in the museum. And the officer here that's the uniform we've got on display. And that is dated from about 1947 to 1949. That would have been the approximate era of that photo.
You know, I think our motor officers might like this uniform too. We should add this to the collection. What you think? For them?
I'm quite sure they won't, because that is hand-stitched wool.
Wow, and it is very thick.
And that is the winter uniform, and they definitely would not like to wear that uniform today.
I was just joking. But no, this is really neat, and I know that you have several uniforms in there as well for some of the officers. Just through the years. What else do we have here?
On the table today, I brought a couple of the oldest photos that I have in the museum, and this one is from 1904. This is a group of our officers standing in front of the police headquarters, which was called the police stockade, which a portion of that stockade still stands today on the side of the Muskogee County Jail, in between that building and the public safety complex. So in the picture, someone actually pinned numbers on them to number the photos. And so the number 4 person in that photo, that was Mayor Chappelle at the time. He was the mayor of the city of Columbus. And then Chief Wiley Williams is next to him. Chief Williams would have been our first actual police chief. Now, we had marshals prior to him that served as chief, but he was actually our first official police chief.
Wow. Okay. And what else we have? This is another
similar picture. Now, I think that photo might have been of command staff mostly.
Okay.
But this one is 2 years later in 1906. And again, Chief Williams is the number 4 position in that photo as well. Also taken in the same position in front of the stockade.
Okay, in the stockade, people can still see that across from the public safety building, right?
Right. There's a portion of that still remains.
Nice. Yes. Okay. You keep a lot of good stuff. Now, something that we still do each year is an annual report, and you have one that dates back to the 1800s?
Right. This one is 1896. It's an annual report that the chief of police would present each year. We still do it to this day, actually. It has changed somewhat. But this one is interesting. I'm flipping through the page just to show, because photographs weren't a big thing yet.
So they had to draw a picture of him.
Right.
Okay.
And so that's Chief Williams. And it's a really interesting report to read. It gives you full detail of the way they felt they were being perceived by the public in the chief's letter to council, and it was an interesting read. Mm-hmm. But it went on to outline in detail every crime that was committed throughout that year and which officers worked which cases. So it was a very, very nice report, very nice to have.
Good,
yes.
Good. Now, I know you're right. Times have changed. Most of this will be digital or something. But this is a really neat thing that I'm glad that we still do to this day, to just highlight everything that we've done throughout the year. But for you to have this from 1896.
Yes, we have several of those, and we've got traffic regulations, the actual police manual from 1894 as well. That's also on display in the museum. And there's a lot of neat things and something for everybody that should be interesting. So we are growing, and we do. I had Sergeant Garrett Williams just today brought me his gold medal that he just recently won in the World Police and Fire Olympics.
Oh my goodness.
And he just said, "Here, I thought it would better serve in here than in my desk drawer." And I said, "You're absolutely right." And
he put that medal in his desk drawer. We're gonna have to have a conversation with him.
Well, it's proudly on display in the museum now. But he won that world medal for bench pressing 660 pounds or 650 pounds, I believe it was.
Yes.
And plans to beat that in a couple of years.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Yes. So, that video did go viral on our Facebook
Yes.
page. Everyone was so amazed by it. So what do you see for the future of our Heritage Center?
Well, there's the future that I actually see is we are about ready to move downstairs to the first floor. As many people may know, the fire department just recently acquired a new building, and they vacated some space in ours, and so that's created some space for other departments within to start moving around. And I'll be expanding the museum as soon as that time comes up, and it should be more accessible for the public to be able to come in on the first floor without having to go through so much security and elevators and such. So I hope to get things spread out to be a little more topically presented, and hopefully it will encourage more growth of more artifacts, because I do find the more people I'm able to talk to about this, the more things come in, because it sparks that in their mind that, oh, I didn't think about this, that you would want it. Just like I mentioned with Sergeant Williams, it wasn't until we had conversation that, hey, what you do today is history for tomorrow. And so I try to tell all the officers today that anything you have that's related to our department is good for the museum, because it will be our history.
Right. So that's a good message. Anyone who is sitting at home or watching this, listening to this, make sure that if you had any sort of ties to Team CPD in the past years or so, and you have something that may be at home collecting dust, and you want to not necessarily get rid of it, but you want to have a safe space for it, we have it here in our Heritage Center. So make sure you get in touch with us, and we'll have a contact number at the end here when we start inviting people. Was there anything else that you brought that you want to share from the Heritage Center today?
I think that's mainly it. I had this one other photo I didn't realize at the time I had this theme going, but that's another photo in front of the stockade as well.
Horse.
But that's the horse and buggy, and that actually was the paddy wagon, as some people called it. They called it the Black Mariah. And that was a common term used also for that type of vehicle. So it's got our police department written right on the door, and I sure wish we had it still.
I know. Like, I'm more interested in the horse, though. I'm thinking that maybe if the chief gave you a Heritage Center, maybe you can ask him if we can get like a mounted patrol. We could have like
Right.
you think you could?
We
estimate?
actually had mounted patrol, of course.
I know, but I want it back. Just
Yes.
to add to our canine unit, and we can have horses. And I don't know, maybe we could open our own zoo one day. Who knows?
Police zoo, yes.
But this is really
Yes.
nice. So right now the Heritage Center is open only on Tuesdays and Wednesdays for right now, and we'll be transitioning here soon. So anyone who wants to stop by and visit now, like if they have any groups, how can they go about doing that?
Right. They can easily just call this number. It's 706-580-6423. That is the number for the Heritage Center. They can call. Like I said, right now it is only open on Tuesdays and Wednesdays from 8 o'clock to 4 p.m. But I love to give tours. It can be a individual or a group is fine. If you're interested in seeing it, just give us a call and we'll be happy to show it.
All right, so just taking a look at a journey through time, through our Heritage Center and all the artifacts that we have to offer here at Team CPD. Miss Cindy Ware, you've done such a great job putting that together for us and
Thank you.
preserving our history as we look forward to our future. We appreciate it, and thank you so much for everything that you bring to the department. You served 30 years in budget, and now you're back doing our Heritage Center, so we definitely appreciate everything you do. But before we go, you have to tell us who is one lady that inspired you during your career at Team CPD or even afterwards as your role over the Heritage Center. You have to name a lady or two.
Well, when I first started at the police department, I worked in the record room, and Dot Menard was the supervisor, and she was tough. She was very tough, but she came up from a time when she had to prove herself as a supervisor. That wasn't really common still, even then. Women were really still trying to find their way. So I was fresh out of high school, and she was like a mother figure to me. But I learned a lot from her about how to present myself and how, I don't know, I had a lot of upbringing from my own mother as well, but because of her strictness and all, it helped me to remain disciplined. So that was a good role model for me early in the years, and then I really can't put my finger down on any one particular officer. I can think of so many. I watched the recent news of Sergeant Katina Williams at the beauty of what she did without wanting any recognition whatsoever. She's getting a lot of it, but it's because that all these women in law enforcement and the men too, they do it because it's their calling. And it really is their passion. So that's why I've loved working in the law enforcement family, because these are not people that are just here for a paycheck. They're here because it's what they want to do. They enjoy serving others, and I love that as a Christian principle, that people want to serve others.
That's beautiful, Miss Cindy. Okay. Well, thank you again. Thank you for all that you do here for Team CPD. And if you want to stop by the Heritage Center to get a tour from Miss Cindy, again, that number is 706-580-6423. You can also email cpdga@columbusga.org, and we'll get that set up for you. Miss Cindy, thank you. And
Thank you.
happy Women's History Month to you.
And same to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, that's going to do it here for us today on I was about to say Beyond the Yellow Tape. Lord have mercy. I'm thinking about the show that's on Fox 54. But anyway, that's going to do it here for us on Beyond the Badge. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.